Okay, this is my audience. Now make sure you can see my...
Okay. And I can't see your head. Oh, there you are.
Someone further back can hold it if you need them to. Okay. So everyone tends to know what knitting is, but crocheting is its kind of cousin because they both use yarn and they both use needles. But crocheting, you can do a bit more with it actually, and it's good for giving gifts or making something for yourself. But it doesn't have, when you do a round, you don't have to use a special needle. You can still use the exact same one. And first of all, the materials that you need are a needle, which this is a size G. It is the typical size that you will use. And there are many sizes. They range from many letters of the alphabet. I think they go up to M. And depending on what project you're going to do, you use one of the needles. The really small ones tend to be for lace or something really with a lot of holes with really thin yarn, while the really big ones tend to be for the nice, huge, fluffy scarves that you like. So you can use basically anything that you want for it. And then the yarn, it comes in many different colors, many different types. There's this soft, normal kind of yarn, and then there's the frilly stuff that you can do for really cute scarves or hats, and then there's the thick stuff for wool and things like that. And I mean, the project usually will tell you what kind of yarn you need to get the right effect, but if you want to do something on your own, then you can pick whatever you want, and you can usually adjust patterns for whichever yarn you're using. But the things that you use to actually make the project are your stitches. And there are many different stitches in crocheting. There's single stitches, double stitches, triple, there's a V-stitch. But the main ones that I'm going to show you today are the slip stitch, slip knot, which you will need to start any project. The chain stitch, which is always the beginning line. If you need to have a base for it, then you use the chain stitch to create it. And then the single stitch, which is the simplest actual body stitch that you can have, because these two are the easiest and you need them to start a project. Now, the slip stitch, you'll create a loop like this one, and then you wrap the yarn around this way over the loop, and then you just pull another loop through. And you can make that as big or small as you want, and you pull it tight and it will slip through. You can take it out if you need to, you can adjust the width of it, and you put the needle through that. So that is always the first thing that you're going to do. It's the most important part because it creates the knot that will make sure that your piece does not come unraveled. And after you create that, what you want to do is you twist the yarn around your finger. That ensures that it won't slip, that you have the right tension for your piece, and that you have ease of access to the yarn. And as soon as you're done with that, you have your needle in the loop here. And for a chain stitch, it's one of the simplest things you can do, and you just twist this around the yarn so that it's in a full circle, and you pull it through. And you can tighten that as much as you need to, and I made the loop bigger so that you can see, but usually it will be a lot tighter. It will be about the width of the top of your needle so that you can have no huge holes in your piece. And the chain stitch, all you do is you keep doing that throughout the piece. So I'll make a few chain stitches so I can demonstrate the single stitch. And as soon as you're done with your chain stitch, you are going to want to start the first actual line of your piece. Now, when you do the single stitch, you won't have to twist anything around your yarn the first time like you do with more complicated pieces. But all you do is you find the little holes between the pieces here, and you slip it through two of the yarns. yarn pieces. There are usually 3 in a chain stitch. If there aren't, you've done it wrong. So there will be 3 strings of yarn in one chain stitch, and you slip it through 2 of them. And then you twist it around the yarn like you did for the chain stitch, and you pull it through. And then you'll have 2 on your little needle. They should be about the same width, and if they aren't, then you just pull the yarn through more, because you can adjust it as much as you want while you're on that stitch. And you loop it around again, and you pull it through. And sometimes you'll have the issue that I had here, where you got a piece of the yarn stuck on it, and all you have to do is pull it through again, and then you have another loop. And the most important part here, after you've got that down, is you continue going through the chain stitches, doing this single stitch, and at the end you have to turn around. So the simplest way to turn around, and the way that you usually use, is you go to the last stitch that you did, chain stitch, you make a single stitch, and you turn the piece all the way around like this, which is very important. And for a single stitch, you have to make the first stitch on top of the, to make the next row. And you pull it through and you make another chain stitch. And then you can go along the second row doing exactly the same thing. And past the single stitch, there are a few other stitches, like I said, that you can use, which are all have different effects. They make the yarn look different. They make, maybe you can have holes to have an artistic effect. But this is the simplest way to do it, and it's the easiest, the one people learn first. But as soon as you learn that, you can continue, you can do other things, and it will be a masterpiece if you learn right. So there's many projects that you can do. You can go out and look, there are patterns online, and it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it.